Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeremy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeremy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
Join us as we explore the prize inside, looking at holistic health and extraordinary human potential.
Hi there.
Hi there.
The Prize Inside, a podcast dedicated to holistic living and unlocking your human potential.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm working on it. Hey guys, come on, there we go. Welcome to tonight's 1% Tribe. Tonight we're going to actually get to talk about elderberry, which is really, really cool. It's a very popular one. Popular in a really good way. Like a lot of people use this one correctly. I just want to add to it. Like a lot of times we go after elderberry, like if you're sick or, those kind of things. But tonight, hopefully, I will get you convinced that it may be a little bit more than that. Maybe it's something you want to take on a more regular basis. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, and kind of the various ways it like works and functions and, those kind of things. So hopefully you like, I've been doing like different videos to kind of to uptick a lot of things. So I did these little short videos this afternoon. So hopefully I'll get better at those as we go. You guys know, if you've been around, I'm not very great at a lot of this stuff, but I'm very proud of my little AI video. I'm going to make one better than that. But it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun doing something and trying to constantly improve it. So if you have any recommendations, let me know too, as we go. But the first thing I want to do is make sure that everybody's following. I think I got 73 followers on Rumble, which is huge. I'd love to get to now. I'm kind of getting cocky. I think by the end of this year, I want to be at like, I want to be at like 100, and I feel like we're going to get there. I think the stuff we're going over is pretty awesome. So our first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the Rumble link. If you go to Rumble and look up The Prize Inside, A Chiropractor's Journey, that's a place that you can find us. You can also find us at YouTube as The Prize Inside, A Chiropractor's Journey, or at The Prize Inside You. Okay. And then the final thing that I like to make sure that you have so that you're on there is called tribe1.substack.com. So tribe1, like the 1%. So tribe1.substack.com. If you get on there, it'll let you get into our email list. And so that email list is fantastic. And then we are, if you look up the Prize Inside on any podcasting stuff, Substack, or I'm sorry, iTunes, Spotify, all those, Amazon, there's a lot of different places where you can get the podcast. And that's one of my passions is starting this was the podcast aspect, because I just saw there's a niche in the market for what I call innate intelligence. The learning about the body's ability to heal itself, the body's innate wisdom within, right? And so that's what tonight's all about. So, but we take some things out of nature, right? And we introduce it into our thing to make it, into our world, to enhance what the innate intelligence can do, in the sense of, people call it biohacking. I call it what the body can actually do. Julie, I see you. Thank you for commenting. This is a good topic. I know. I think you're going to like it a lot. Because a lot of times with elderberry, I see it a lot with a lot of holistic moms, a lot of times the mothers, right? So if the mom has a bunch of kids that are living that holistic lifestyle, they use elderberry quite a bit. The big thing is like understanding that there's more to it. And I want you to know the other benefits just than the immune system, right? So that's what we're going to go over tonight, and hopefully you enjoy it. So here we go. So let's start with it. Unlocking elderberry, the benefits, immune support, and the big one is antioxidants, and some more stuff. Okay. So here we go. So what we're going to go over tonight is what is elderberry and how to use it. Okay. And I've started learning, like at the end, I looked up some cool recipes for some other stuff, so don't forget. Oh, tonight, I forgot. Tonight's tea of choice is echinacea, like actual flowered, or the plant version of echinacea. No rhyme or reason. I just thought this would be a perfect tea because echinacea has some good immune system stuff, right? So why not do that with the elderberry? Okay. And I wanted to try it. I forgot how good it is, actually. It's really, really got a good earthy taste to it. So elderberry, okay. So how does this fit into our 1% tribe lifestyle? Like, why elderberry? What does it do? We want to talk about those people that know how to use elderberry. We're going to show you a little bit as you go. And once we go through it, when do you use it? What's the best parts of the plant? Those kind of things. So there's much more to elderberry than just, knowing it. There's elderberry flower that I've learned. There's the actual plant pieces to it as well. Okay. So that's what we're going to go over. So let's go over a brief history. Elderberry, primarily from the Sambucus nigra plant, Sambucus nigra plant, has a rich history dating back to the ancient times. It was revered by Hippocrates around 400 BCE. Okay, as his medicine chest for its versatile healing properties. Indigenous peoples in North America and elsewhere used elderberries and elder flowers, okay, remember that, for treating fever, swelling, and to induce sweating, okay? So if you remember what that is, right, that's one of the herbal actions that we've talked about before. Pliny the Elder documented its medicinal uses in Roman times, and it appeared in English and Scandinavian folklore as a protective plant against evil spirits or witches. Okay, that's cool. Throughout the Middle Ages and into modern folk medicine, it was employed for ailments like headaches, wounds, rheumatism, catarrh, which, remember what a catarrh is, right? Mucus, like bad mucus situations, okay, and arthritis. Today, it's widely recognized in herbal traditions and has seen a resurgence in popularity for its immune support, especially supplements and syrups, okay? So that's basically where we're at, but you can see how long it's been in use for a lot of different things, not just immune system stuff, right? If you go listen to what I just said, rheumatism, wounds, headaches, right? Arthritis. So just remember, sometimes you grow it, Julie. That's awesome. Julie grows it. Me and you got to talk about that. I want to know how to do that, because that, in my little herbal garden, I would really like that, because elderberry is such an easy, oh my goodness, it's such a good go-to. So in the immune system stuff, but understanding what this is, headaches, wounds, all those things. Okay. So let's go over the phytochemical compounds. So the phytochemical, when I say that, it's just the active ingredient. So a plant will always have things that make it really powerful in medicinal type things. And that's what, it's not the whole plant itself a lot of times, it's parts and pieces to it. And that's what, science over many years has figured out, what are these active ingredients that help the cells of the body. So the first one we have to go over, though, is elderberry flowers versus berries and other parts of the plant. Okay. So elderberry's potential health comes from its diverse array of bioactive compounds. So those are the ones we were talking about, which vary plant by plant part. Okay. So each one has different areas that they can hit and make active. Okay. So the flowers, or elder flowers, and berries are the most commonly used, while leaves, stems, and stalks contain some similar but potentially toxic compounds if not prepared properly. Here's a breakdown based on scientific analysis. Elder flowers, these are rich in flavonoids. Okay, so flavonoids are an active plant ingredient, okay, or substance, right? And this one's quercetin. Higher concentration in the flower teas. Okay. So quercetin, we have talked about this on the 1% tribe before. Quercetin allows, being a flavonoid, it's an active ingredient. There's another quercetin's also found, I believe, in, I'd have to look it up. So Quercetin's found in other plants. And what nice about quercetin, though, it allows zinc to penetrate into your cells. So a lot of times zinc sometimes has a hard time penetrating into your cells, and you need the zinc for the immune system. One reason elderberry works so good is because it has this abundance of quercetin. Quercetin allows that in. You can take a quercetin supplement, right? And that allows that zinc to enter the cell easier. And with the zinc being there, then you get a really good immune system response. Okay. So that's the first one, quercetin, big one. So I'm going to name some other ones that you've never heard of, but these are other flavonoids. Okay. So rutin and camphorol, as well as phenolic acids, such as chlorogenic acid, and other compounds include lectins, lupeol, alpha B cytosterol, tannic acid, choline, and some unique phenolics like 5-hydroxypyroglycoxide. I didn't tell you I'd get you on the naming, but I like reading through without using my words. Apparently, aroma compounds such as linol, hydro something, and non-anol contribute to their scent and potential antioxidant effects. So anytime you hear flavonoids, just remember you're going to hear a lot of good active ingredients. Flavonoids, anti-cyanins, like all of these things are the active ingredient, but they add to what the plant can do. This is where elderberry isn't known for, but in the elderflower, it's huge. It's a huge antioxidant resource. Okay. So not only we need antioxidants each and every day, right? Into this, it helps our cells so much having these antioxidants, right? Oxidation, oxidation's kind of the enemy to the cell. Antioxidant, right? Antioxidant allows us to not have those enemies in there. So a lot of times just having a good plant-based diet in the sense of good vegetables, like all those different plants give you some good antioxidants. Elderberry actually adds to that. So that's why it's one of those things. Not only are you going to get a good immune support, but you're also going to get really good antioxidant support as well. But when you add it as, let's say, a food, okay? So, but this is just all the crazy stuff that you find in the flowers itself, okay? So flowers generally have a higher level of certain antioxidants compared to the berries for some applications, okay? So it's got a crap ton of antioxidants plus the quercetin that allows the zinc to happen. Okay. So remember that elderflowers, very, very good. Quercetin is what you want to understand because you want that zinc to get into the cells. Okay. Elderberries. Let's talk about that. These are packed with anthocyanins. Okay. So anthocyanins are the red purple pigments like the I never can say these right. Cyanidin 3-glucoside, which is an active, potent antioxidant, along with flavonoids such as myristicin, higher in the berry teas, right? And quercetin. So the elderberries have all that. They also contain phenolic acids, vitamins. So elderberry has more vitamin C, minerals, and sugars. So it has more sugars in there. So the elderberries do that. The shared aroma compounds that they both have are both present, but berries have more anthocyanidins, which is a nice antioxidant, okay, than anything else. So that is a really good part. So you can see how they are kind of different, and there's going to be, and we're going to go over like ways to use them different. So these are the last parts of the plant, which are the stalks, leaves, and stems. These contain phenolics, flavonoids, okay, but bioactive compounds like those in the flowers and berries, but they harbor the bad stuff, okay? So the stalk, leaves, and stems aren't necessarily something they can do cyanide or cyanogenic glycosides. Okay. So cyanide ish kind of compounds. So, but there is some saying that the stalks are a really good antioxidant, but you have to you have to do it properly. Okay. So, a lot of times, a lot of these stalks, if that is something that they want to do, you have to cook it. Okay. So you have to like get it down and break it down. But it's definitely less used for consumption. So like Julie is growing it. So now she knows elderflowers, elderberries. That's what the biggest pieces and the most bang for your buck is going to be. The stalks might be something you want for antioxidants, but it's if you got the elderberries and the elderflowers and the other ones, that could be really, really good without that, right? So just remember that, but it's huge antioxidants, right? Huge, just improvement of the body is the best part. Okay, so let's go through elderberries' health benefits, because once you have that many antioxidants in anything, right, and the ability to have one of your active compounds be quercetin, that tells you right away could be pretty freaking good for your immune system. Okay. So that's one of the ones I recommend highly usually. Quercetin, remember always, right now is the flu season. Let's stop here. Zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, those are important pieces, right? Zaces, zinc, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, and I love quercetin or quinine. So you add that little Q at the end so that zinc is allowed to get into the cells. And that's what we want. Okay. So elderberry's benefits are largely attributed to its antioxidants, vitamins, and anti-inflammatory compounds. While promising, most evidence comes from small studies in traditional use. And you always want to consult a doctor before using it for medical purposes. That goes for everything. It's very easy on you as long as you don't, eat the stuff I just told you not to, right? Remember that. Here's a breakdown of key science-backed benefits. So these are the things that they've proven. Immune support, and cold flu relief. This is what I see the most of. It may shorten cold and flu duration by 2 to 4 days, reduce symptom severity thanks to the antiviral flavonoids that we talked about before, and anthocyanins, right? Effective for travelers during respiratory infections. So elderberry, very commonly used. I would say, like, in my herbal journey, I think elderberry is one of the top ones just because it took off so well, and it's really good for that acute flu and cold, especially for kids and things. I think my adults don't do it as often, which is kind of unfortunate. They more reach for the over the counter stuff, which is sad because this could actually really, really do it, especially in the beginning stages of some kind of flu or cold or respiratory infection. This is something that you could do very, very well. And we'll go over how to take it in a few slides here. Antioxidant. Remember, antioxidants, we need them throughout our whole life, but it also has anti-inflammatory effects. So you have this elderberry that's really high in vitamin C and phenolics that combat oxidative stress. Remember what oxidative stress is. Oxidative stress is cell damage. Okay, so cellular damage can occur, and it's through what they call oxidation. Your body's getting oxidized. It's kind of, think about like rust, right? Rust is metal being oxidized. We don't want our cells to be oxidized. So that's what it can help with. So it has a potential of lowering inflammation. So that's a good thing, right? So it has good anti-inflammatory effects. And especially if you got it around, why not take it a little more often, right? Heart health. Heart health is another big one. It could, this is not studied totally, but it's good to know, right? Of what benefits you could have. Could reduce cholesterol, blood pressure, and cardiovascular risk through the great antioxidants, because the better you have antioxidant, right? Oxidation is what happens to metal with rust. If I have anti-oxidizing, then those kind of compounds allow us to not get oxidized. Does that make sense? All right, good. And it has anti-inflammatory properties. So there could be some benefits to the heart, as you go. Is it as good as the immune one? No. The immune system one, it's obvious. Like if anybody's ever had elderberry and felt good the next day, that happens quite a bit. But everybody else doesn't know about all these other cool benefits to it. Here's another one that's interesting: metabolic and weight management. Juice may aid weight loss, like as elderberry juice may aid weight loss, improve metabolic health, and help balance blood sugar, possibly helping with diabetes, right? So a lot of these, there's a few out there, especially when you start looking into anything that's antioxidant, right? Antioxidants going to help in various ways. It's just like anti-inflammatory. Same thing. You get this anti-inflammatory situation like turmeric, ginger, those kind of things. You start doing it on a regular, sometimes you get this inflammation, the pain goes away, different active ingredients start to reduce as well. Now, the other one that they're coming up with that's interesting is gut and other benefits. There is potential for it to promote gut health. Traditional uses include easing arthritis and skin issues. So all of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that could be potential with elderberry. So that's where as the innate intelligence of the body, one of the things we always have to understand is that if we're looking at the whole body, let the intelligence of that plant also work towards your innate intelligence. That's what it's showing, right? So here's a good example. If I have arthritis pain, you could try elderberry, right? But in your brain, most of us do not think of elderberry as something you want to try with arthritis pain, right? But with what it does, it could be fantastic. And the amount of antioxidants, people pay for huge supplements of like antioxidants to make sure, and elderberry has a ton of them in there. So it could be just something you do on a day-to-day basis is what I'm saying. And how hard would it be on you? You're going to do, if it's going to help your immune system as well. All right. Oh, this is not. Wow, that's what happened. That's not the one. Okay. That's weird. It didn't erase my slide from before. Okay. That was my berberine talk. If you ever want to talk about berberine, that was a good complex one. Remember that if you become a member of it's free, but you get on Rumble channel or you get on YouTube, go look up The Prize Inside, A Chiropractor's Journey. That would be fantastic. And there's a berberine talk we did. And apparently I skipped the slide in that one. So that's funny. Okay. What herbal actions is elderberry great at? So that's what we got to look at. Okay. Okay. So the reason it's so good is it is also called an anti-catarrhal herb. Okay. So the reason you notice a big issue or a big response in the immune system is because of the symptoms. Okay. The symptoms of what? Sinus, coughing, phlegm, all of those things. What happens in the elderberry, and this is why kids, when you see kids and they're suffering and they got this cough and it's gross, and moms will grab some elderberry and stick it down their kid's mouth. Kids don't mind it either. and it will actually start breaking up that mucus in a head cold or a flu, because elderberry is what they considered a class of herb called the anti-catarrhal. Okay. Catarrh is the phlegm. That was the old words for it. And we're trying to break up that phlegm. That is why elderberry is so fantastic. It's also called a decongestant herb in some contexts. Is a plant used by herbal medicine that helps reduce, eliminate, and prevent excess mucus or catarrh production and accumulation, particularly in the respiratory tract, such as the sinuses, ears, nose, and throat. These type of herbs support the body in clearing congestion by either thinning the mucus to make it easier to get rid of, like coughing it out, reducing mucus secretions. It can help that. If the body is overloading you with mucus secretions, it'll homeostatically rebalance that. And then toning, here, this is the big one that a lot of us don't think about. Toning the mucous membranes to normalize production. So a lot of us we take elderberry when the time is right, when we're sick or when we have these sinus issues. The problem is like in that season when you know the sinus issues coming, you should start taking elderberry because of tone. We want to make sure our mucous membranes are ready to go so that the body can have mucus is something that's natural. We need it to occur. What we have happen is this overdone mucus situation. And because it's overdone, then we can't get rid of it like everything else, right? So here's some other examples of some anti-catarrhals that we've talked about a little bit. So you have eyebright, elderflower, of course, what we're talking about tonight, goldenrod, mullein, and thyme. They're often employed for conditions like colds, sinusitis, allergies, and upper respiratory infections. Many anti-catarrhals have astringent properties due to tannins. Okay, so astringent means bitter. It's kind of the more of a bitter situation, and the tannins are an active plant ingredient again, where it helps do what it needs to do. So but this astringent property actually helps dry out the secretions. Okay, so these are, and when we're talking about helps dry out, we're talking about normalizing the drying process. Okay. Note that mucus serves as a protective role. So these herbs address excess rather than eliminating it entirely. One of the biggest mistakes we have in medicine, in the sick care model we have, is the goal of all medicines, especially in this area, is to eliminate the symptom. Okay, to eliminate the amount of mucus. And so by doing that, and I will give you some, so a good example of this as we go forward, that is the problem, right? A lot of times sinuses get out of control. One of the problems is that we as a society take a lot of sick medicines that literally eliminate the mucus problem. Once you eliminate the mucus problem, you stop taking the medicine that was eliminating it, completely getting rid of it. And then it overreacts because it wants to do the job correctly. And now we have an out of control situation. So I'll give you a good example of this. When I first started practice, I was so excited to adjust my first people. But right down the road, I mean, like almost walking distance from our office was a donut shop. So, and I love the people of the donut shop. So we'd go there, get a donut. I'd get a donut and a latte before I'd come in the morning. So started doing that, thinking I was cool. Well, every spring and fall, I'd always come up with the nastiest sinus infections, like in my brain. It would be terrible. Well, over time, I finally learned. I'll tell you, there's two things I learned from that sinus situation. One time I said our first office was right next to a pharmacy. And in fact, one of the funniest parts is the pharmacist was very holistic, like ridiculously knowledgeable on the things he was like learning about and all those things. So we constantly had great conversations. One time the pressure was so bad. I was like, give me anything you got that would knock out some sinus stuff, because I wasn't going to take anything most of the time. And you'd think I'd have a lot of sinus stuff just based on my voice. Like I have a very nasally kind of voice, but I really don't have any issues. But so this time I did. So I went over there and he goes, hey, I'll give you this stuff. We just took it off the shelf because the drug company or whoever made it took it off the shelf and they have to like do a recall. And I don't know why, but since it's there, you might as well try it. And I'm like, whatever. I was hurting. He goes, I had a lot of good luck with patients with this one, but they just took it off the market. Okay, whatever. So I take like 2 of them, and I swear to you, I thought my eyeballs were going to like dry out of my skull. In fact, it went from like a headache from sinus to a dehydration headache in like less than a half a day. And it was like 1 pill. I was like, that is so crazy. And the way it made me feel was so petrified, because I had never really taken any like anti-sinus medicines, that I was like, I hope this isn't like all of them. Oh my God. Some people are putting some major pressure on their sinuses, right? And so that's why, like in the herbal world, using these ones to that benefit, because what we want to do is reduce excess, but we want to keep the maintaining and understanding the physiological process that's still your sinuses. You need it. It's protecting you from all the weird foreign invaders to make you not sick from something else. But I always thought that was an interesting concept. What really got me over the top, though, was after a few years of doing this, I looked at Dr. Geimer one time, who's the doc that we were partners with. And I'm like, man, every time it turns into the fall season, I get a head cold. And this is just right out of school. He's like, quit doing sugar, dummy, before you come in here. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, man, before you work on people, don't do a bunch of fake sugar. That's where the fake sugar thing came from for me, was the moment I went to like black coffee and just doing all the non-sugar related stuff before I started working on people. Never had an issue again for like 20 plus years. It was fantastic. So a lot of those things set yourself up for success, like where elderberry could be one of those. You're going to run into your spring allergies or your fall allergies. Start taking it before, because you get it set up correctly. Okay. All right. So hopefully that made sense. All right. So this is the other thing that makes elderberry so valuable too. If you remember all those antioxidants we talked about, we're going to go into what other things that it's really, really good at in the herbal action space. Okay. So elderberry is considered an antimicrobial herb as well. This is a medicinal herb, leaves, roots, plants, flowers, that exhibits properties capable of inhibiting the growth of microorganisms or directly killing them. Okay. These herbs contain bioactive compounds like phenolic compounds that we told you, flavonoids that you just heard about, right? Terpenoids, alkaloids, and essential oils that disrupt microbial cell walls, interfere with protein synthesis, and inhibit nucleic acid replication and suppress biofilm formation. So that's why it becomes an antimicrobial herb. In herbal medicine, antimicrobial herbs support the body's natural defenses against infections rather than solely targeting pathogens like synthetic antibiotics do. They are commonly used for respiratory, skin, GI, and urinary tract infections. So these are your major ones that act antimicrobial: thyme, garlic, echinacea, oregano, clove, and elderberry. So that's pretty cool. Many offer additional benefits like anti-inflammatory or immune supporting, of course, but the elderberry, especially, while generally safer and less prone to resistance than synthetic antimicrobials, right? So chemical ones or drugs, they should be used knowledgeably and under professional guidance for specific conditions. Okay. So just remember that part. How do you use it? Okay. So let's talk about that. So elderberry is generally safe when prepared properly, but raw or unripe berries, leaves, stems, and bark contain cyanogens, okay, cyanogenic glycosides, which leads into cyanide. Okay, so that not like cyanide, it's not crazy, but it can cause nausea, vomiting, and sometimes cyanide poisoning if you're going to eat them. So you always want to cook them. Okay, cooking it helps a ton. Avoid these if you're pregnant or lactating or with autoimmune conditions because it may overstimulate the immune system. Okay. So if you have any of those, consult a healthcare provider, or if you're on any major medications, that could be a thing. So elderberry is one of those that you want to make sure you're safe with. And my recommendation is don't just start taking stuff. Ask somebody first, right? Somebody you trust, maybe a registered herbalist, that could help a little bit too. So common forms and dosage. Okay. So let's go into here. So how do we use it? Usually the most really popular way, this is why it's so good, is a syrup or a juice. This one is very popular for immune system. This would be a really good way to take it. Like if you want to, you take 1 to 2 teaspoons daily or during the illness. I would say I lean towards more like daily, right? So if you want to take something, that would be a good one, especially elderberry juice. Mix with water for a drink. Cook the berries by boiling it for 30 plus minutes to make your own. Okay. Tea. Tea is a fantastic way to take any herb, just because of the medicinal part and like a lot of the plant pieces get taken away by the heat of the water, and it dilutes it enough where you'd have to take a lot more, right, to create what they call a therapeutic dose. So steep dried flowers or cooked berries in hot water. Okay. Dried flowers or cooked berries in hot water. The flowers can be raw. Berries should be cooked first, always. And then you can drink 1 to 2 cups of that daily, and you get a really good amount there. Elderberry gummies are very popular, or capsules. Convenient supplements, typically doses between 150 and 300 milligrams of extract daily. Other ways, not as popular, or you can still take it this way, but tinctures, which is the liquid, right? They're done in alcohol, so it gets a really powerful tincture dose. Lozenges is a new one that's pretty cool. Or in recipes like jams, always cooked, right? For foraging, identify correctly and cook thoroughly, and start low to check for allergies. Okay, so just make sure you take a little bit at a time to make sure you don't have some kind of allergic reaction, which is they're a very safe berry, honestly, but they want you to take the very big. I would take the precautions as well because there's so much goodness in there that it's worth taking the precaution. Okay, so now that you've been through my boring part, hopefully that makes sense. I want you to think of elderberry as not just when you get sick. I want you to do it when it's that time of year. It's like low vitamin D time. It's like in the winter time in January, right? Elderberry would be a good one to take. Elderberry tea, elderberry syrup, making your own. Julie's got it at her house, right? She's going to make them. That would be a great one to have on the shelf, right? And just even can it, like there's so many good ways, but there's so much good benefit there that now we want to go into a couple recipes I found that are pretty cool. And we'll kind of walk through these for my podcast audience. Remember the name of them, and you can look it up online pretty easily. So I'll try to go slow. I'm not the greatest ingredient guy. You're not coming over for elderberry syrup night, I promise. But we'll walk through it. So this is the classic one. The first one we're going to go over is the classic elderberry syrup. Okay. This is a staple for immune boosting. You can drizzle it on pancakes, mix it into tea, take by the spoonful. Okay. So ingredients, and this makes about 2 to 3 cups. So you take 1 cup of dried elderberries, right? Or 2 cups of fresh frozen elderberries, 4 cups of water, 1 to 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger sliced, or 1 teaspoon of powder, 1 cinnamon stick, 4 to 5 whole cloves, optional, and then 1 to 1.5 cups of raw honey. Okay. So that's the combination. So this is classic homemade elderberry syrup. Combine the elderberries, water, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves into a pot. Bring to a boil and then reduce heat and simmer for 45 to 60 minutes until reduced by half. Mash the berries, strain through a fine mesh sieve or the cheesecloth type thing, and get rid of the solid parts. Cool to room temperature and then stir in the honey. Store in the fridge for up to 2 to 3 months. Take 1 tablespoon daily or more if you'd like to during an illness. So that one people have heard of. I'll probably do, if you get on the tribe1.substack.com, I will put that into, I'll probably do that tonight. That would be a good idea. I'll put it in tonight. Just the recipes that we go over tonight. So you guys have a paper copy of it. So that'll be good. And you'll get on my tribe1.substack.com email list where I want to do that more often. So get over on that. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. This one's kind of interesting. Simple elderberry jam and jelly. Now, remember, like some of these is super important. Think about this. You're doing something that's delicious, but it's actually got so many antioxidants in it. It's really, really good for you. So these are the kind of things that could be just the cat's meow, right? The biggest thing that changes the game sometimes. So this is simple elderberry jam and jelly. Spread this on toast or pair with cheese. Rich and tart flavor, okay? So the ingredients, this makes 4 to 5 jars. 4 cups of cooked elderberry juice from simmering 8 cups. Okay, so 4 cups of cooked elderberry juice. You simmer 8 cups of berries in water, mashing and straining, okay, until you get down to 4 cups. Then you use 4 to 5 cups of sugar. Make sure it's real sugar, right? We don't use fake garbage sugar. 1 package of powdered pectin, which is normal for your jams and jellies, because elderberries are actually low in pectin. So you have to use a little bit more. And then juice 1 lemon. Okay. So then you mix juice, pectin, and lemon in a pot, bring to a rolling boil, add sugar all at once, return to a boil for 1 to 2 minutes, set on a cold plate, and then pour into sterilized jars, process in a water bath for canning, and or refrigerate for shorter storage. So that's how we'll do that. Okay. It's kind of cool. Remember, but here's the thing. If you like elderberry jam and jelly, think about that. That can replace just your straight strawberry jam that you get at the store that has a bunch of fake sugar in it, right? Now you have a bunch of antioxidants and you can actually feel better. I got to get my the kids and I, let me bring the kids and I actually, we did, they weren't sure because they knew what was in it. I did an avocado chocolate pudding and I have the recipe for it. It was incredible because you use the dark chocolate, like the powder, the cocoa powder, and the avocado, and there's like milk and a few different things. It was better than like the instant pudding that all of us are used to. incredibly different taste to it. I was like, holy Moses, I have got to remember that one because it was so fantastic. So some of these take a chance on. Like elderberry jam and jelly is one that Rachel and I have been talking about that we want to do. We're like getting all jazzed up because January comes and we start talking garden stuff. And so now we're trying to set up. She's going crazy organizing places where we can like dry things, cold storage, a lot of those things. Because I think we're gonna go for a little bit more this year. So anyway, so that was elderberry, the simple elderberry jam and jelly. All right, so my last one is the one I want to try. So that's why I put it in here. I don't care about my listeners. I just care about how my belly feels. That's what this is. No, I'm just kidding. The elderberry pie one. I want to try it because I'm a blueberry pie freakazoid. It's the best stuff on the planet. Or strawberry rhubarb. Oh, strawberry rhubarb pie. Oh, it's just wrong. Okay. So elderberry pie, a delicious dessert, tart like the blackberry pie. So this is ingredients for a 9-inch pie. 4 cups of cooked elderberries drained. Okay. So we got that. 1 cup of sugar, 3 to 4 tablespoons of cornstarch or tapioca. I'm not a pie maker, so I don't know. I'll leave that. 1 lemon in a double pie crust and butter dots for topping. Okay. So you preheat the oven for 375 degrees. You mix the berries, the sugar, the thickener, and the lemon. Pour it into the bottom of the crust. Dot with butter. Top with lattice or full crust, which you guys know if you've made pies before, what that is all about. And you bake it for 45 to 55 minutes until bubbly and golden. And guess what else is in here? Quercetin, antioxidants. Holy mother. And the more organic you get, right? I'll never fight you on real sugar. It's the fake sugar, guys. So these kind of things could be a game changer, right? Not going to fight you on butter. Butter's real. Actually, Rachel found a thing of tallow. We've been cooking with tallow lately. I did not know that it came in the store. Like tallow is beef fat, right? And she actually found it at our local our local grocery store. Remember that, Julie? At Horrocks, they have beef tallow that you can cook with. Whoa. I didn't know that. I've just made my own most of the time. We always use the beef, our own beef lard, essentially, to cook with. Of course, it makes everything taste outstanding as well. So, but anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed tonight in the elderberry. I loved it. But what are we going to do tonight? We're going to go get some elderberries and try some things. Okay. So whether you get gummies or try the actual elderberries or the elderflowers, try the differences. Everybody's unique. We're not going to know, maybe elderberry isn't the thing, but remember anti-catarrhals. There's quite a few different ones that you can try for the same type of result. Elderberry just happens to have some really good antioxidant power, anthocyanin power, a lot of flavonoids, all these things are in this plant. And so it's so good. That's why kids just benefit. And the reason moms that use it is because it works. Okay. It works well. I wouldn't have mom after mom after mom using it if it didn't work. Okay. So just remember that as you go. Some of us, as we age, we get a little more impatient with our body and we don't give it time to work, right? And so just elderberry is kind of in that ballpark. Everybody thinks when they're adult, man, my thing's too tough for an elderberry. Well, you don't know. And after tonight, hopefully you'll understand, maybe I'll start taking it often in those times where I know my sinus and antihistamine situation is coming up, right? If I know I'm a spring sinus person, if I know I'm a fall sinus person, whatever it is, that might be the time to start doing elderberry, and it might help you a ton. Okay. So remember, you can get the bunch of good supplements. You can get elderberry through this thing called Full Script. That's what's on the screen there currently. Let me see if I got. And you can do this. My little, okay, get back on there. My little corner thing up here. Let me remove that. You can see up here is a little QR code that will bring you to Full Script. Full Script's like the Amazon shopping of really good vetted nutritional products. It's like 30,000 on there. One that I'm pretty proud of. I was helping my kid with skincare because you'd think go right to dad. No, I'm just kidding. I looked it up and I said, Lexi, try this one. It had some really good herbal stuff in it just for skincare as a teenager. And she's like, Dad, that stuff's amazing. So when she ran out, she was like, Dad, I need to get some. Well, so we got that all figured out. But she got it back. I swear it's all good. But with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget on Wednesday night, we do Whole Health Weekly. Whole Health Weekly is where we can go over where we get to go over all the latest health trends in the news, and we kind of sit down and do that. We do that on Wednesday night at 8:30. So we do that one. The other thing is on next Sunday, my hope is to I want to do a condition. So the physical condition we will go over. I'm trying to figure out what anybody would like to. So I kind of get patients that listen and will tell me, right? So that might be the thing. We've done so many good conditions. I might do some reruns on some different conditions that are out there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But remember, on Sunday night, we're going to do that as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about elderberry, enough to try it. Maybe make it a staple in your diet. Maybe make it a tea. You never know, right? So that's pretty cool. And with that said, you guys have a fantastic night. Take it easy.